this series just won't stop surprising, or rather more accurately, shocking us, huh? For better and for worse. Sometimes both simultaneously. I did not think that Liko, Roy, and Dot would defeat Geeta, and I said as much in my preview discussion for this episode. Not only is defeating a champion something that I thought was well beyond their current capabilities, but also by now, I'm just used to the fact that they won't win every time, and that most of the time, they don't have to in order to succeed. We've seen plenty of times how them just doing their best is enough for them to get the result they want, whether that's passing a test, getting a hero to join them, etc. I figured that this would be another one of those times. I fully expected them to bring their full might to bear in order to give Geeta a great battle, one that proves how far they've come, how much stronger they are, and this would allow them to obtain Geeta's permission to enter Area Zero even if they lost. But joke's on me, they actually did it. They managed to defeat a champion against all odds. Something that, much like Liko catching Terapagos, shocked me greatly and left me feeling conflicted. On the one hand, I'm happy that they won. Really, I am. Because I like Liko, I like Roy, I like Dot. So seeing them succeed and achieve great things brings me joy. And considering how many times they've failed and or lost, seeing them win always ends up being something worth celebrating and applauding. On the other hand though, did they really have what it takes to defeat a champion? One of the strongest trainers in the region? It's debatable, honestly. I mean, they went from struggling and mostly failing to defeat gym leaders and Elite Four members, to suddenly being able to defeat a champion, someone who stands above both gym leaders and the Elite Four in terms of power and hierarchy. Like, even with a gym leader by their side, Liko and Roy failed to defeat Rika and Hassel respectively. Now yes, they've obviously grown immensely since the Terastal debut arc, but I'm not fully convinced that 12 episodes, the gap between episode 67, the end of the Terastal debut arc, and this episode is enough to go from losing to gym leaders and Elite Four members to defeating a champion. Especially since they didn't exactly spend the said 12 episodes training. Though granted, you could call battling Arboliva, Moltres, Lapras, Cleavor, and Entei training, since Liko and friends definitely got stronger as a result of these epic clashes. Now yes, they battled Geeta together. It's not like they each defeated her in a 1v1. This would have truly been preposterous. But still, even together, I don't think they should have been able to win. Especially because while it was 1v3 in terms of trainers, in terms of Pokemon, it was an even 3v3 battle. So it's not like they have an overwhelming advantage. Nor did Geeta go easy on them. I mean, she said it herself, she does not hold back in battles. Moreover, in the episode right before this one, they struggled against an Entei even with Freed helping them. Can they really go from this to defeating a champion in just one episode? I honestly have a tough time believing this. Now yes, this brings up the very interesting question of who is stronger, a champion or a legendary Pokemon. Unfortunately, I don't have a definitive answer, though you guys clearly do. But regardless of what said answer is, the difference in power between them can't be that much, right? So I think my point still, at least mostly, stands. I understand that in order for their adventure and thus the story to proceed, they had to get permission to enter Area Zero, but narrative necessities cannot supersede logic. I'm all for characters achieving incredible things, unbelievable things, impossible things even, especially if I like the characters, which again is the case here. But they must have done something or several things that make them worthy and deserving of accomplishing such feats. That's not to say that Liko and friends haven't done plenty already. I'm not trying to take away from how much they've grown and improved, or how much they had to do and endure to get here. But I would argue they haven't done quite enough just yet to earn the right to achieve something as monumental as defeating a champion. Just take Ash as an example. Now, I hate to bring Ash into discussions like this constantly, or rather, I don't hate it, since he's really the only precedence we have for protagonists in the Pokémon anime. The only character we can truly compare Liko and friends to. But I feel like some people might dislike this. In any case, the point is that it took Ash a whopping 1,150 episodes to defeat a regional champion in battle. Yet, Liko and friends get to do the same in just 79 episodes? Am I the only one that thinks that this is just wrong? Am I the only one that has trouble accepting this? Now yes, Ash did it solo while Liko, Roy, and Dot had to team up. But still, this is simply unbelievable. Once again, it feels like Ash's legacy is just being blatantly disrespected. Just like when Liko captured the Terapagos, she did in 75 episodes what Ash never got to do, officially at least, in the 1,232 episodes he was the protagonist for. It honestly feels like suddenly, a lot of the things Ash was denied for decades, and for eternity if he never returns, because God forbid the protagonist of the Pokemon anime gets to do such insane things, are now perfectly acceptable. So they are just being handed out to Liko and friends. This just feels wrong. Even if Ash finally being allowed to do some of these monumental things is what set the standard, what made them be possible for main characters in this anime. I really want to know what you guys think about this matter, so please do let me know in the comments. Misgivings and gripes aside, what about the battle itself? How was it? Well, I think it was pretty good, though nothing to write home about. Certainly not to the level a battle against a champion should be. It was just a little too slow-paced for my liking, since there was a lot of stop and go, with the same pattern, the same series of events, occurring and repeating several times. Liko and friends would do something, like having Floragato, Crocalor, and Quaxwell attack Glimora with Magical Leaf, Flamethrower, and Water Gun. Geeta would cleverly and expertly counter them with ease, such as by having Glimora use Dazzling Gleam to negate incoming attacks, while also blinding the starters, leaving them unable to avoid being bombarded by the Glimmet with Power Gem. Finally, Liko and friends would be forced to hold their rapid dashes in order to carefully decipher how to overcome Geeta's ingenious tactics, leading to smart plans like taking inspiration from Kleavor by using sound to overcome the aforementioned strategy, allowing Floragato to skillfully avoid the power gems and lasso both Glimmet, rendering them completely open to a Stomping Tantrum from Crocalor, which deals significant damage since they are double weak to ground. Basically, this battle was attack, fail, stop to think of what to do, apply new tactics, succeed, rinse, and repeat. Meaning that there was a lot of downtime. The action wasn't constant. This was just a more strategic kind of battle than normal, a clash of minds, something more akin to playing chess. This is not really a bad thing, of course. In fact, if done well, it can lead to some very intense and interesting battles, and I think this episode succeeded in doing this. Geeta using Dazzling Gleam more like a utility tool and less like an attack, her having the Glimmet use Rock Polish to boost their speed in order to have them dart around super fast, making them difficult to hit, Roy brilliantly leveraging the fact that disarming boys cannot miss, which is true to the games, so that Crocalor could hit and impair the Glimmet, Glimora using Spiky Shield to block Quaxwell's liquidation, hurting him in the process, and making use of the fact that it takes a hit from Sucker Punch to trigger its ability, Toxic Debris, which scatters toxic spikes that poison the starters, having the Glimmet take advantage of the poison to hit the starters with boosted Venoshocks, Geeta mercilessly sacrificing her nearly fainted Glimmet via Memento in order to cripple Crocalor and Quaxwell by severely lowering their attack and special attack, rendering them less effective for the rest of the battle, Liko, recalling what happened on the previous episode, deciding to have Floragato use Sucker Punch on Crocalor just as he was about to use Stomping Tantrum, interrupting him so that his next Stomping Tantrum is boosted, allowing him to deal serious damage to Glimora despite the nerf from Memento. This episode was just filled to the brim with strategies and tactics that were not just unique and refreshing for the anime, but also wonderfully creative that leaned heavily and spectacularly into game mechanics, making for a battle that was very enjoyable, interesting, and entertaining to watch, especially if you are into competitive Pokemon battles in the games. While I still prefer pulse-pounding, intense, Dragon Ball Z style battles, ones like this that are so technical and tactical can be extremely good as well. That said, despite the overall slower pace of this battle, it still had plenty of wonderfully animated and choreographed moments, especially towards the end, that were certainly a spectacle and thus a joy to watch. Namely when Glimora and the starters all terastalized, at which point Glimora fires off a literal Kamehameha level Terra Blast that Crocalor and Quaxwell tried to shield Floragato from with Flamethrower and Water Gun, only to fail and be knocked out, though they were able to soften the hit just enough for Floragato to endure it just barely, leading to Overgrow being triggered, which gives her enough power to overcome Glimora's next Terra Blast, allowing her to win in a magnificent fashion. So overall, I think this battle was quite awesome. Now, could it have been better? Yeah, absolutely. But this does not mean that it was bad by any stretch of the imagination. Beyond everything I have already praised about it, I also just have to mention that I love how it wonderfully showcased the ingenuity of the trainers involved. Liko especially, who was willing to resort to friendly fire, catching everyone off guard, including me, shocking us with her resolve to win even if she has to employ some very risky tactics. She knew full well that there was no other way to get the jump on Geeta. Considering how Liko is mostly cautious and shy, seeing her be so bold and so brave as well as so clever is something I very much appreciate. Something I cannot say for the many flashbacks we got at the start of the episode. Once Liko and company got to ask Geeta for permission to enter Area Zero, they had to explain everything they've been through, which means we got to see a montage of recap. Lucky us. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know exactly where I stand on fillers and recap. In short, I hate them. Thankfully, once Geeta grants permission only to Freed because she deems Area Zero too dangerous for Liko and friends, forcing them to insist on being allowed to go as well, prompting her to challenge them to a battle to see if they have what it takes to survive Area Zero, the episode wastes no time in getting to what we actually want to see, aka the battle. Something else that I do appreciate is how Freed, Penny, and the Elite Four all got to watch the battle, allowing them to marvel at just how much Liko and friends have grown. Penny especially even got to praise Dot directly, fitting given their friendship, when she guided them to Area Zero after their victory. Geeta herself had plenty of good things to say about them, and she clearly had fun battling them, which is great to see. She even applauded them for winning just as they were looking utterly shocked, unable to process that they actually won. All these characters had a hand in the development and growth of Liko and friends. Therefore, it's great that they get to witness just how far they've truly come. Even getting to, alongside Geeta herself, give them some heartfelt and tearful congratulations, and the reassurance that they have what it takes to handle Area Zero. Finally, the episode ends with Coral and Sidian diving into Area Zero, which is hilarious, and it sets up their involvement in the episodes to come. So yeah, overall this episode was great. While I might not entirely agree with the outcome of the battle, at least said battle was a unique and interesting clash that, despite having some slow moments, still managed to be engaging and intense with just the right amount of suspense and the surprising tactics to keep us on edge. Moreover, despite my misgivings, I cannot deny that seeing Liko, Roy, and Dot triumph over such a tough opponent still makes me happy. Throw in the return of Penny and the Elite Four and the fact that they were able to partake of the same spectacle we got to see, leading to them praising Liko and friends after witnessing their incredible growth, and you get an episode that was simply marvelous. If only this had happened farther into the future though. This same battle but more intense and dozens of episodes down the line, featuring Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and Quaquabal instead of their pre-evolutions, and even more skilled and experienced versions of Liko and friends, would have certainly been much better, and the same outcome then would have been a lot more realistic and easier to accept. Still, what we got was plenty good, and so I guess I can cut the episode some slack. Now I'm sure you're eager to check out my reviews of the previous episodes as well, so go ahead and click on the links on screen. Also, if you enjoy what I do and want to help me keep creating content like this, please consider supporting me directly through one of the links in the description below. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.